Hi, thanks so much for joining in. You're watching Ask Profit on NDTV Profit, and my name is Alex Mathew. The name of the show is Ask Profit, and therefore it is geared towards getting you answers to all of your stock-related questions. And to that end, you see the number on your screen. That is where you send all of your questions to us. Whether it's short-term technical in nature or long-term fundamental, we've got you covered. And we will take that up in just a bit. Remember, if you're tuning in for the first time and if you're writing in for the first time, let us know who you are, your name, and where you're tuning in from. Let's first take a look at where the markets are as things stand right now. And we've seen a bit of a capitulation in trade today after opening more or less flat and in fact spending a very brief moment in the green. You have the Nifty 50 that's currently trading with cuts of about 250 points or about 1% or so. We've broken below the 25,000 mark in trade today. The broader market's also losing ground. In fact, the mid-cap index is down. It's about 0.9% lower at this juncture, and you have the small cap index that's down about 0.7% or thereabouts. Let's take a look at what's contributing to the fall for the Nifty 50. And you have the likes of Reliance Industries that is leading the declines, at least in terms of the weightage, of course. You have SBI, which we will talk about in just a bit, which is also losing ground, ICICI Bank and Infosys. Among the sectors, of course, just based on the names that I've talked about, you will know that the Nifty Bank is under a bit of pressure today, and that is evident based on what I've already spoken about. The PSU Banking Index down quite substantially, close to 2.9%, largely on the back of the underperformance by State Bank of India. But oil and gas under pressure. In fact, most sectors are in fact, or all sectors are in fact in the green at this juncture. And you've seen a bit of a spike in the India VIX as well. That's par for the course. In the red, apologies. I'm so used to saying in the green that I said that again. All of the sectors in the red right now. But let's focus in on State Bank of India because it is losing ground, and this is on the back of a note that came in not too long back. This is by Morgan Stanley that is talking about pressure on ROIs. We've got Harsh joining in to tell you about the fine print there and what exactly is being said. Harsh, over to you. Morning.
Good morning, Alex. Well, yes, under pressure, what Goldman Sachs suggests in its note is that your ROAs are contracting, and now probably we've hit a top when ROAs is concerned. They're expecting ROAs to hit sub 1% FY26 onwards. What will lead to this? First off, loan growth. They believe deposit growth is weak, and that will cap loan growth as well going forward. So that's the first piece. Second is credit costs. They believe credit costs have bottomed. Agri, MSME as well as unsecured will start to normalize, and that will start to have an impact on ROAs going forward. So these are the two big impact areas which will therefore lead to a sub 1% ROA starting FY26. Currently valuations, or rather before the start of trade today, valuations were roughly 1.4 times price to book. They had, or rather Goldman Sachs had a view that valuations ought to be at 1.2 times. So in any case, they were cautious on it. But what they've now done is they've reduced their target multiple to 1 time price to book. And therefore, they've reduced the target price at 9% downside. They've downgraded it to a sell. And that's one of the likely reasons why SBI is under pressure today.
Much, Harsh, for getting us those details. In fact, speaking of valuations, we had an exclusive chat, or rather my colleague Vishwanath Nair had an exclusive chat with the new chairman of State Bank of India, C.S. Shetty, and he had to say a variety of things, but he also spoke about the valuations. Here's what he said when he said that he thinks that it's actually lower than what it should be.
Still valuation, we have much valuation left to be recognized. If you see the price to book value of our bank and when compared to the other peers, the potential and the consistency of the results what we have provided and the shareholder value what we have created, I think I'm sure we deserve a better valuation than what we have today.
All right, on that note, let's get our experts on for today. We've got Gaurang Shah, Head of Investment or Head Investment Strategist at Geojit Financial Services, and Rajat Bose, a SEBI-registered research analyst. Thank you so much to the both of you for taking the time. I will come to you first, Gaurang, on State Bank of India. Hopefully you will get a chance to listen into the conversation with C.A. Shetty that plays out at 12:30 today. But he said some very interesting things, part of which is that they're not going to be okay with growth at any cost, and so they're not running after high-cost deposits. What do you make of today's move? At what point would you say accumulation is a good strategy?
Thank you, Alex, for having me on the show. Good morning to all of you all, including my good friend Rajat Bose. Firstly, disclosure, I think it would be prudent to give. We have a fundamental buy coverage on State Bank of India, and our targets are somewhere close to about 880 to 900 from a long-term point of view. Short-term challenges are there, definitely. There is no denying about that, especially mobilization of funds via deposits. That's going to be challenging for not only State Bank of India, but most of the banks by and large, be it private or public. In terms of the outlook that we share, well, we are extremely optimistic with respect to the credit demand that is likely to go up further, which will translate into margin expansion and, of course, interest incomes looking much more positive. Then, of course, turning into more profitability numbers on the higher side. If you ask me at current levels, well, given the fundamental coverage, I would say that start accumulating at these levels. Don't put all your money at one time. But definitely a staggered buying and increasing your investment in State Bank of India is something that we are extremely positive about.
All right. On that note, let's start with the questions. And incidentally, the first question that I'm taking today is to do with State Bank of India. And Rahul Sharma is asking, at what price should I buy State Bank of India? Rajat, this is a great time for me to come to you. The stock is under pressure today. What would be a good level based on the technicals to start buying in? Based on the fundamentals, Gaurang says you can start nibbling right now.
Yeah, I would say that since it has broken down below 9, 20 and 50-day moving average, so the last major support level is the 200-day moving average, and which is at 763, I think. That should be the level one should aim for. But I would like to say one thing. If what Hers just reported, that some FII is expecting that return on assets will go below 1, in that case, should we buy banks? That is the biggest question, because so far as I have read and I have heard from FIIs that they prefer return on assets above 1.75. If that is the case, then at least for the leading banks. If that is the case, then should we buy SBI at this current level or should we wait? But suppose if it were to fall below 763, which is the 200 exponential moving average, major support will be found between 700 and 680. At that price level, I would say whatever be that return on assets projection, at 680, it's definitely a very good buy. But at 763, one may try one's luck. If it doesn't show many more weakness, then there would be a bounce back. But in that bounce back, it needs to take out 840. If it doesn't, then there will be problems again.
Fair point. All right. That's a comprehensive view on State Bank of India for you, for all of you, in fact. Sandeep from Bengaluru is asking the next question. He's bought 1,994 shares of Gail at a price of 229 on the 5th of September 2024. And he's wondering what the outlook is for the next few months. He's not specified how many months, but he's he's experiencing a bit of a loss. Rajat, on the technicals, what would you suggest that he do?
See, Gail has support around, say, 219 to about 215. If that gets taken out, then it will go to sub 200 levels, something like 195, where the 200-day exponential moving average is located at the moment. So at current levels, one should not be buying. And if one has already bought, put a stop loss below, say, 220.
All right, that's a view on Gail. Let's talk about Reliance Industries next, and it is under pressure in trade today. We've got Anvesh from Andhra Pradesh who's looking for a relatively short-term view. He's asking hold, add or sell. He's bought 9 shares at a price of 3,034. If he's already holding Gaurang, we've got a confirmation that the board has approved the bonus share issue. Incidentally, not on this platform, but I've actually gotten a lot of questions whether you should buy in the context of the bonus share issue. Not that it changes life too much. You get, basically you'll have the price adjust as per the ratio that is, that is decided. So what would you say about Reliance Industries?
So 3,400 is the target, Alex, on the long-term point of view. And what I have witnessed is some large cap names like Reliance and the L&Ts of the world. Of course, I'm not making any comparison over here. Once they go X bonus, then after a couple of years, that is maybe about a year and a half or two, the prices come back to bonus levels. So that's the kind of wealth that some of these large cap names create. There was a lot of announcement in the AGM also, and we heard all of that and we have dissected all of that. I think because of the markets being under pressure, by default, large cap will also come under pressure. But we remain optimistic on Reliance Industries from a long-term point of view.
Okay, Ashoka Buildcon is the next counter that we're looking at, and I'm coming to you on this one, Rajat. It's currently trading at 273 or thereabouts, up about 2% in trade today. We've got Sushila, who's writing in from Bellary, who's asking whether this is the right price to enter the stock. What's the view?
Well, today it has given a very stellar move. In fact, it has moved up from 227 low to about 284 high and currently ruling at 273. So definitely not, because a few days back, similar kind of situation happened. And at that point of time, it went up to 271 from a low level of 209 on a single day. But over the next 4 sessions, it went down to about 235. So currently at 273, you should not be buying. But if you get it on a rebound, I mean, there will be some kind of a corrective move again on the next few sessions. If you get it around 250, 260 within this range, then buy. At least you will have some cushion. Otherwise, if you buy at these levels, because the stock has moved up from 80 to 272 in in about a year's time. So it has already moved up quite a bit. So one should be a bit careful of buying these stocks at these current levels.
That's a fair point. It's one of several stocks that has doubled in the year-to-date period. In fact, if you can pull up the 2024 chart, you will see that that is, in fact, the case. Let's talk about Bajaj Finance next, and it is a question from Jigar. He's writing in from Ahmedabad, and he's bought at levels of 7159.59, very specific. It is currently below the current market price, so he's making some money on this trade, but he's got a long-term view. He's got 108 shares. Gaurang, would you say that this is one candidate where you continue to add to your kitty over a period of time? Some comments have been made about worries about unsecured lending, and they've moved past the regulatory issues and hurdles that they've had, more or less. Hasn't affected their assets under management growth too much. Would you say that it's still a buy at this juncture?
Well, if you are in for the long term, I would say definitely hold, Alex. And I think the trigger for Bajaj Group companies giving this kind of momentum, I'm talking about extremely short term, is because of the Bajaj Finance Housing Finance IPO. That's creating a little bit of more uptake and push on the stocks. But from a long term point of view, what you were mentioning, Alex, about unsecured credits and exposures, I think it's all done and dusted. Whatever necessary steps that need to be taken post the regulatory advice has been put in place. Their reach as far as semi-urban and rural India is concerned is extremely, extremely strong. And I think they've got some great network also to reach out to people. So from a long-term point of view, hold on. And if you get this, I think it will be a prudent thing to add to the stock from a long-term point of view.
Okay, fair point. Ashok from Guntur is asking this next question. Incidentally, do you know what Guntur is famous for? I'll tell you after the answer to this next question. We've got a question on Dr. Reddy's laboratories. He's asking whether it can be bought at the current price. Rajat, on the technicals, would it be a buy? And you want to hazard a guess as to what Guntur is famous for?
No, not really.
Okay,
I would
I'll
say
take
that-
the answer on Dr. Reddy's laboratories then.
I would say that this has, I mean, from a technical point of view, there is a sell signal. Sell signal in the sense that 50-day moving average has been broken, 920, all had been broken, and there had been, say, about a 2.5 months kind of distribution. And after that, this fall is happening. So one should wait. I mean, if one is patient, one is likely to get it around, say, 6,400, then put a stop loss below 6,150 and buy, but not at current levels. And if one has already purchased, I would say you better get out.
Okay. Guntur, by the way, in Andhra Pradesh is known for spicy food, and specifically the Guntur chili, which is seen as the benchmark for chili prices in several parts of the country. Let's talk about Brigu's question next. He's got Vodafone Idea. And by the way, Brigu, tuning in from Punjab, Sat Sri Akal is what I should say. 25,000 shares of Vodafone Idea bought at a price of 15 rupees, relatively higher. He's in a loss, and this is the danger. Gaurang, on the fundamentals, would it make sense to hold on to this? It is a high-risk strategy.
So, Alex, before I give a disclosure, I would say that, this stock is only for those who have extremely high risk appetite, because it is a very high risk, high return kind of stock. We do have fundamental coverage on Vodafone, and we have targets of 17 rupees as of now. I think the stock is under pressure because of certain reports which has come out this morning with a much lower target price. But what we feel is that the company has managed to garner funds, reduce debt, and they are doing something which is auguring well for the growth of the company. But at the same time, not to forget, there are a lot of retail investors who are stuck into this particular stock at various price points, and any rally above 18 to 20 rupees on Vodafone Idea will be met with selling pressure from a short to medium term point of view. So you need to have both aspects in mind. One is extremely high risk appetite and a very longish kind of a time horizon.
Okay, fair point. Ola Electric, I'm actually coming back to you on this one, Gaurang, because we obviously not going to have enough data for a technical check on this. The stock is trading a little bit under pressure today. Of course, today is when the anchor lock-in opens up, and so perhaps there's a little bit of selling. It's down about 3.5% or thereabouts. We've got a question from Dr. Mahesh. He's asking, is this the right time to buy the share? What's the view, Gaurang?
76 was the floor, Alex, for the shares getting allotted to those who had subscribed for the IPO. After listing, for initial some time, the listing was a little bit subdued. Then it suddenly got flavor and stock rallied to 157.40, which is the all-time high. There are a couple of things. We had issued a subscribe note on Ola Electric from a long-term point of view. And the problem here is, Alex, that 1,500 crore loss on the balance sheet, which will take pretty long period, and a very sound business strategy to come out in black and then into the blue or in the green. The 15th August launch of electric bike will be available to those who have booked it possibly next year post Diwali or something. During that time, there's going to be a lot of competition that is expected to come into the market. Along with that, the gigacell factory production is something that we will be keeping a close eye on. So if you ask me at current levels, keeping the IPO note as a base, start accumulating, don't go all out, but start accumulating at current levels, and if it has to slip closer to 100 or sub 100, then you should add on to it more. But please have 2.5, 3 year kind of a time horizon and keep your eyes on the earnings, because that's going to be very crucial.
All right, absolutely. And watch the volume data as well. You will start seeing more details on that. Biju from Wayanad has got the next question. Goldiam International, I hope I'm saying the name of this company right. Maybe you can say it as Goldiam International. 500 shares, bought at levels of 137. The question is, should I book profits or hold on at this juncture? Profits are close to 1 lakh. Rajat, would you hold?
I would suggest a sell, because this stock has already moved up quite a bit, and the moving averages are very well stretched. Chances are that you will see a sharp correction coming at least down to about 280 levels. So why not book profits? One is making good money.
That's a fair point. Sumit has got this next question. He's asking about IndiaMart. I believe this is IndiaMart InterMesh. Let's try and pull up the chart. Yeah, so it's currently trading at 3,018 or 19 or thereabouts, and he's bought at levels of 3,030. He's got a 1 to 2 month time frame. So shorter term time frame, Rajat, on the charts, how does it look?
If it manages to get past, say, something like 3,200 to about, 3,200 is the key level to watch out for on the upside. If it manages to get past that, then you will see it going up to something like 3,350, 3,400. But if one is buying now, then put a stop loss below 2,900. Not before that, you can put a stop loss because the 20-day moving average is around that level. So that should be your stop loss. One can buy, but it needs to take out 3,200. If that gets taken out, then 3,350 to about 3,400 will be the target.
Okay, let's pull up Dixon Tech because it's the next counter that we're talking about. It's currently trading at about 12,240 or thereabouts, and we've got Jayakrishnan from Kozhikode in Kerala who's bought at levels of 13,407. Slightly elevated. What would you do with this on the fundamentals? Gaurang, do you have fundamental coverage, and would you hold on at this juncture?
Well, so currently we don't have the coverage on Dixon Tech, but let me say one thing over here. The stock has rallied in the past 1 year to a great extent. I think it's one of the top performers. In terms of the business, well, there is no peer competition that I can possibly compare it with as far as the listed universe is concerned. One of the greatest beneficiaries with respect to the PLI scheme that the government has announced. Other than that, I mean, the business is good. Possibly earnings will translate into more visibility.
Okay. All right. Harsh from New Delhi has got this next question. Avantel is the name of the counter. Just checking, Gaurang, do you have coverage?
I'm sorry, what's the company?
Avantel.
No, I'm sorry, we don't cover.
Okay. So from a longer term time frame, Rajat, on the charts, he's bought at levels of 194. He's been holding for the long term. Stock currently at close to 175. Would you hold or sell at this juncture?
I would say the recent low, I think, is at 170 or 172. So put a stop loss below 169, and one can continue to hold on because it has been falling from 212 since listing. And it has come down to the current levels after testing 170. So there is a possibility of a bounce back, but in that bounce back, it needs to take out 182 decisively. Unless it does that, there is not much hope. But if one is buying at current levels, then the stop loss should be below 170. Okay.
I'm going to take the next question from Sudhir, and Sudhir is writing in from Bengaluru. He's asking about Orient Tech, which he's bought at levels of 335. He's wondering whether he should hold. Rajat, I'm coming back to you on this next one. Orient Tech currently trading at 304. He's bought at higher levels, 335 or thereabouts. Should he hold on and wait for his buy price?
This is also a new listing.
Okay, fair point. I'm going to try then. Gaurang, do you have...
No.
Okay, sorry. Do you have enough data?
No, I do not have enough data. I would rather pass this question to Gaurang.
Fair point. Gaurang, do you have any view on Orient Tech?
Well, so as an IPO note, we had come out with a buy coverage on Orient Tech. I think the range was 195 to 206. The business that they are into, of course, it's headquartered in Mumbai. It started in 1997. A pretty interesting play in terms of IT-enabled services and the platforms and the verticals that it caters to. So if you've invested from a long-term point of view, keeping that IPO note as a base, stay invested from a long-term point of view.
Okay. BPCL is the counter we're talking about next, and OMCs have been in focus all through the week on account of the fall in the crude oil prices. It's down about 1.6% in trade today. We've got Sai, who's bought 700 shares at a price of 351, very close to the current market price. He's asking whether he should exit at this juncture, just based on the overall market texture and picture. Rajat, what's the view of BPCL in the context of everything that's happening in the market?
BPCL, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would say that BPCL is still maintaining its uptrend because the 9-day exponential moving average has been tested, but it is not breached on closing price basis over the, say, last 1 month or so. So it is not the time to exit. I would say that you exit only if it falls below 345, then it will become a sell. Otherwise, there is a possibility that you might get higher levels of, say, 360 to about 365. At that point of time, if you decide to sell, that would be fine.
InterGlobe Aviation is the next counter we're talking about, and we've got Sampath from Hyderabad, who's bought at levels of 3,200. Stock is currently trading at very close to 4,800. Gaurang, on the fundamentals, would you hold on to this? What's the outlook, and what are the prospects?
Well, if I have time by my side, I would definitely advise him to hold on to it from a long-term point of view. Our targets are 4,900. These targets were set aside some time back. Big positive in terms of the connectivity that has improved, Alex, over the last couple of years under the Udan 1 and Udan 2 policy that the government unfolded. We've seen large number of airports open up over the last 10 years. Many more are likely to get opened up, which will increase the connectivity. And they have also ordered for new aircrafts, which will increase the fleet size. From a long-term point of view, hold on.
Okay, hold on is a view on InterGlobe Aviation. Plenty happening in the aviation space. On that note, we're completely out of time on this edition of Ask Profit. Gaurang as well as Rajat, thanks so much for taking the time, and pleasure having you on the show. Do stay tuned. Lots more coming up over the course of the day. Hope this conversation and this show helped you out. This is NDTV Profit.